So this is thermodynamics. You can see. Uh, have you downloaded those books? These books, PK Nag Sinjal. I have uploaded in Google Classroom. Please upload. If not uploaded, if not downloaded, sorry. So this is the thermodynamics. So what is exactly thermodynamics? So if you want to calculate energy transfer for a system in order to get work output, you need thermodynamic analysis part. Okay. And what is engineering thermodynamics? The application of basic thermodynamic principles to the real life problems is engineering thermodynamics. Okay. And what are the branches? So there are three branches: equilibrium thermodynamics, non-equilibrium thermodynamics, chemical thermodynamics. So we'll deal with only this classical thermodynamics. Okay. Then what is classical thermodynamics? What is statistical thermodynamics? Anyone? So classical is macroscopic thermodynamics. Statistical is microscopic thermodynamics. If we want to calculate any energy transfer in classical, you need more. You need less number of inputs. In statistical, you need more number of inputs. Okay, which is easy. Classical is easy. Classical thermodynamic analysis is easy. Statistical is a bit tough. Okay. Next. So here you can see few properties are required to describe a system. Here you need a large number of variables, and this approach is complicated. Okay. So statistical means micro level. Classical thermodynamics means macro level. Okay.
Ma'am, can you share the screen, ma'am?
Okay, okay. Is it visible now?
Ma'am, Rohit Nalaya.
Uh-huh.
Rohit,
Okay, okay.
Rohit अच्छे हैं।
Okay, okay. Okay. Screen visible now? Now? Is this visible? Okay. Next, what is thermodynamic system? So if you want to calculate energy analysis for a particular region or space, then you can call that space as the system, thermodynamic system. So where you want to analyze, so you take that region as a thermodynamic system. So for that thermodynamic system, there is a boundary means which separates a system from the surroundings. That boundary can be movable or fixed. So surroundings means everything external to the system is surroundings. So boundary, some characteristics are there. So boundary which separates system from surroundings, and boundary is having zero thickness. Why? Because we are not interested in investing energy in a for the boundary, because by giving some thickness to the boundary we'll lose some energy. So that's why we are neglecting the thickness of boundary. Okay. So boundary can be fixed or movable. So this you can see in this example. So what is universe? Universe is system plus surroundings. You can call it as a universe. So there are three types of systems: closed system, open system, and isolated system. So what is this? So this one. So this is system. This thin layer is a boundary, and external to the system is surroundings. Okay. Next. So what is this system? Can anyone tell? Is it open system or closed system? Anyone? So it is a closed system. Closed system means energy is coming in, energy is going out. That means energy transfer across the system boundary is there in the closed system. Then open system means both the mass transfer, energy transfer across the system boundary is there in the open system. And this one is the isolated system. There is no mass transfer or energy transfer across the system boundary. Okay. This one is closed system, open system, and isolated system. Okay. Next, these are the differences. And this, you can see, this is a closed system having fixed boundary. Suppose I am igniting this air mixture with a burner, then what happens? The pressure inside the piston cylinder arrangement increases, then the boundary, this piston will move in this direction. That means this whole boundary is not fixed. That means boundary is moving. Okay, this is the example for moving boundary, and this is the fixed boundary. And this one closed system. So this is the closed system. Next, and this one is open system. This is an imaginary boundary and this is a real boundary. And this whole thing is control volume. The surface surrounding this control volume is control surface. Okay. Next, isolated system. What is isolated system? There is no mass transfer, there is no energy transfer across the system boundary. Okay, that means mass is constant in the system, mass is not changing, and also energy of the system is constant. And what is the example for isolated system? What is the example? So you can take universe as the isolated system, and thermos flask as isolated system, but not exactly. You can approximate the approximate it to isolated system. Next, the concept of continuum. What is concept of continuum? You are dealing with the macroscopic thermodynamics, that is classical thermodynamics. In the classical thermodynamics, every property is having a constant value, but in general the properties at microscopic level are not constant. Okay, but we are approximating, we are averaging all the values of molecules to a constant value. That means we need a constant value where we can calculate thermodynamic analysis in the classical thermodynamics. That means, so in that case, one concept is mean free path. So what is mean free path? Suppose, so I have taken n number of molecules. All the molecules are colliding with one another. Okay, so the distance between 1 and 2, let us say x1, and the distance between 1 and 3 is x2. That means one is colliding with 2, one is colliding with 3. So you just average all the distances of collision, then you can get the mean free path. Okay. Next, Knudsen number. What is Knudsen number? So this is the value Knudsen number lambda by L. What is lambda? Mean free path. And what is L? The dimension of the system, which we are calculating the in which we are calculating the mean free path. So that should be less than 0.01. So then you can say it is a continuum flow. So for this value only, you can calculate the classical thermodynamic analysis. Okay. Next, these are the some points I have added. You just read after the class. And what is the reason behind continuum concept? So what is the reason means you need a macroscopic level, macroscopic properties having a constant value. For that we are uh, uh, for that we are taking this continuum concept. Okay. And this is the after this line, it is a classical thermodynamics. Before this it is a statistical thermodynamics. Next, what is the thermodynamic equilibrium? So if you want to say a system is in thermodynamic equilibrium, so prior to that the system should be in mechanical, thermal, and chemical equilibrium. So what is mechanical equilibrium? Mechanical equilibrium means there should be no unbalanced forces between the system and the surroundings. If suppose the system is having some unbalanced forces, then So after balancing only, the system will reach the mechanical equilibrium. Okay. The next, what is chemical equilibrium? So there is no chemical reaction or a transfer of matter from one part of the system to the another. So that means there should be no diffusion. So for example, we are taking diffusion, there should be no diffusion. So then you can say that is the system is in chemical equilibrium. Next, what is thermal equilibrium? Thermal equilibrium means, so the system should be mechanical chemical equilibrium. So before reaching thermal equilibrium, that means the system should be in mechanical and chemical equilibrium. After that, if there is no temperature difference between the system and surroundings, you can say the system is in thermal equilibrium. Okay. Up to here, clear now, everyone? Nitish, Bharadwaj, Bimesh.
Ma'am,
Any doubt up to this?
uh,
Okay, if anybody is having any doubt, please raise your hand. Okay, between the class. Next, what is property? Suppose you are staying in your room. That room is having air. Okay, atmospheric air is there. Suppose you want to differentiate between your room and your friend room. Then what you can say in terms of properties of air? That means if that air is having some characteristics, that means pressure, temperature, density is having. So you can characterize, you can differentiate between your room and your friend by those characteristics. You can call those characteristics as the property. That means pressure is a property of the air, temperature is a property of air, and density. So there are n number of properties. So for example, I'm taking only pressure, volume, temperature. Okay, so these are the properties of your room air. Okay, then now I am giving some values to the pressure, temperature, and volume of that air. Then you can say your room is your room is at state 1. Okay, that means your room is having a state of values. So the pressure, temperature, and volume. So then you can say it is a state. Suppose the temperature of your room is suddenly decreased. That means the temperature has taken a new value. That means your room air has taken a new state. The state has changed. So then you can say that as a change of state. Next, what is path? Suppose your room air has changed n number of states, 1, 2, 3, up to 4 are there. So you just join all the 4 states on a graph. Graph means you can take PV graph. Okay, PV graph I have taken. Then uh, on that graph I have drawn all the states. Then join all the states, you can get the path. Okay. Next, so process. So what is the process? Suppose, so in a piston cylinder arrangement, so this is the arrangement. In this gas is there. So it is having characteristics P1, V1, and T1. Okay. Suddenly I have increased the temperature, then the and also I have taken some stops here so that the piston will not move up or down. Okay. Suppose the temperature has increased. That means we are keeping the volume as constant. So you can call this process as constant volume process. Constant volume process. So for a change of state, I have given some conditions. So if you are giving some conditions for a change of state, then you can call it as a process. So this is a process. Then what is thermodynamic cycle? Suppose initially this is my start point. Okay, this is my start point. Then the process has taken place along this path and reached this second point. And again the process has taken place and it has come back to the initial point. So this whole process you can call it as a thermodynamic cycle. Only if the initial point and the final point are same. If the initial and final points of a process is same, then you can call that process as a thermodynamic cycle. Okay, next. So types of properties. So what are the types of properties? Intensive and extensive. I have given some example on that day. So if anyone remember that example, so I have taken a classroom. Okay, this one. So in this classroom, let us say four members are sitting. Okay, four members are sitting. So suppose I have divided this classroom into two equal parts by imaginary line. This is an imaginary line. Let us say what is so the weights of all the people are same. So what is the mass? 4m. What is the volume? V. So after dividing, what happened? After dividing, what is the mass? 2m. What is the volume? V by 2. That means after dividing the mass, the properties are dividing proportionally. Proportionally, the properties of the system is also changing. Then you can call that properties as extensive properties. So properties which depend on the mass, you can call it as a extensive, and properties which does not depend on the mass, those are the intensive properties. Suppose here the pressure of the entire room is P. Okay, before dividing. So after dividing, what happens? Is the pressure is same or different? Can I write P or P by 2? After dividing the classroom, what happens to the pressure? Is it same or different? So it is same. It is same as P. That means pressure doesn't depend on the mass of the system. Then you can call this pressure as a intensive property. Okay. So these are the intensive extensive properties. And then what is phase? So what is phase? There are three types of phases. So I have taken ice, okay, water, next gas. Gas means water vapor I have taken. So these are the three different phases. Okay, this is solid, this is liquid. Okay, next this is a gas phase. So in each and every phase, what happens to the chemical composition? Is the chemical composition same or different in each and every phase? Let us take first phase. The composition. What is the chemical composition? H2O. Correct now? What is the chemical composition? H2O. So H2O, wherever you take a point, here or here, wherever you go, in the entire solid ice cube, you will get the same chemical composition. That means it is homogeneous throughout its chemical composition. Wherever you go, you will get the same chemical formula. Okay, in each and every phase. That is a phase. Okay. Next, what is homogeneous system? Heterogeneous system. So for that, I will take two examples. So this is water and this is ice cube. And another example is lemonade. Lemonade means, so this is a lemonade I have taken and ice is there here. So you must differentiate between this system and this system, which is homogeneous, which is heterogeneous. Very simple. This is a water, ice plus water. This is lemonade. Okay. So lemonade, ice plus lemonade. Okay. So in this first system, what happens here? Ice is there, ice and water is there. For both the phases, this is a solid phase. Okay. So this is a sorry. So this is a solid phase and this is a liquid phase. For both the phases, the chemical formula is same. Okay, na? Chemical composition is same. So you will get the same chemical composition before melting or after melting, both the same. So you can say this as a homogeneous system. But then what about this? Is it homogeneous or heterogeneous? So in this heterogeneous. Why? Because ice, even ice and water is having same chemical composition, but in a lemonade mixture we'll have a sugar, lemon juice is also there. So that's why we are calling it as a heterogeneous system. Understood now? Next, quasi-static process. What is quasi-static process? Suppose here I have taken initially piston cylinder arrangement here. So initially the gas is at a pressure P1 and volume V1 and temperature T1, and on the piston I have put some weight. Okay, these are the stops. If the weight is removed, the piston will be lifted up to these stoppers. Okay, so initially this is the first state, and after that, after removing this weight, the piston will come to this position. Okay, and this one is the first point, this is the second point. So but I have joined 1 and 2 by a dotted line. So why I have joined 1 and 2 by a dotted line? So this is my question. So for that you have to think in that way. So why we have taken dotted lines? Because the first state is in equilibrium, the final state is in equilibrium, but in between these two states, is the system in equilibrium or in non-equilibrium? So this is what you have to think about. So for the system to be in equilibrium, each and every change of state should be changed in a slow manner. That means, so after removing this weight, the piston has moved from this position to this position with some velocity. So that means it has moved in a rush. Okay, that means the in between states are not in equilibrium. So that's why I have joined 1 and 2 by a dotted line. So this is the reason. Okay, next, second case, what I have done, I have sliced the weight into n number of equal weights. Okay, so one by one I have removed one by one I have removed the weights. Then the piston has moved from this position to this position after removing first weight, then second weight, third weight, up to n number of weights I have removed, and the final position is 2. Then I have joined by a this is called okay, I have not joined by a dotted line, I have taken a solid line. Okay, so what is the reason from the previous, what is the difference from previous case and this case? Here you can see the in between states, these marks, you can see these marks. So these marks are equilibrium states. So I am getting the n number of equilibrium states. Then I can join these states by a solid line. That means it is not exactly solid line. See here. So suppose I have taken, so let us take two equilibrium states. Then it is a dotted line. Suppose I have taken three three equilibrium states. It is also dotted line. But when you are taking more number of slices of weights, then you will get more closely spaced dashed lines. Then after zooming out, what will happen? You can see a clear solid line. You can see a clear solid. This is the difference. It is not exactly. This is not exactly. It is this one. It is not exactly solid line, but if you are dividing this weight as a infinite number of slices, then you will get uh, more closely spaced dashed lines. Then you can join this dashed line by a, you can see as a solid line, but it is exactly not equal to the solid line. Okay, so this is a difference. That means the process should be very slow. Why it is becoming very slow? Because I am taking n number of slices, infinite number of slices. That's why the process has taken in a slower manner. Manner means you can call this process a quasi-static process. Okay, so this is a quasi-static process. Quasi means very slow. Okay, quasi-static means very slow, infinitely slow process. You can call it as a quasi-static process. Every thermodynamic process is a quasi-static process. Okay, but that means that is an ideal, that is an assumption. Okay, and this one is a pure substance. What is a pure substance? Pure substance. Suppose here I have taken air, air, atmospheric air. What is there in the atmospheric air? Humidity is there, correct? No, humidity is there, nitrogen is there, hydrogen, oxygen, noble gases. Okay, so like that, so many here. Suppose I have taken this region. Okay, so what is the chemical composition of this air? This air, same, 70%, 70%, 75%. It is 78% nitrogen. Okay, so the proportion of the chemical composition of this each and every nitrogen, hydrogen, oxygen will not change even if you take this mixture, this one, any area you take, but the chemical composition will not change. But what about humidity? What about humidity? Suppose your this is your place, this home, your this is your home, and this is let us say college. So my question is the humidity in your home and in college same? Is the humidity in air is same in your home and college? So it will be different. In your home, humidity in air will be different. In college also, humidity in air will be different. That's why only gas is mixture. So only gas is mixture. Gaseous air is a pure substance, but not atmospheric air. Why? Because atmospheric air is having humidity plus gaseous air. So atmospheric air is equal to humidity, humidity plus gaseous air. Okay, you must say only gaseous air is a pure substance. That means pure substance means chemical composition is same throughout the mixture. Okay, throughout the substance it is same. But if you add humidity, then atmospheric air is not a pure substance. Atmospheric air is a not a pure substance. Only gaseous air is a pure substance. Okay, understood now? Next, so this you just read this thermodynamics or thermostatics for your extra knowledge. Okay, so this completes the lesson one. These are the three questions I have given as an assignment from lesson one. So first one is what, write an essay about what you have learned in lesson one in 100 words. Okay, this is the first question, and the second question is give practical examples for open system, closed system, and isolated system. You take one example for each and every system. Open system, you take one example. Closed system, isolated system, one example. Okay, and draw the diagrams. So for each and every system, you must draw the diagrams of practical examples. Whatever you are taking as a practical example, draw that diagram. Okay. Next, give four examples for each intensive properties and extensive properties. You write four examples for intensive, four examples for extensive. This is your assignment. You you can see in Google Classroom. Okay. Any doubt in this assignment? Any doubt? Assignment one, three questions. That means here you can see assignment one. In an assignment one, chapter one is there, chapter two is there. That means unit one and unit two. In unit one, four lessons are there. So for each and every lesson, you will get assignment questions. I will average all the values. Okay. So this one is your assignment one. So here comes a lesson two. So any doubts up to here? Lesson one, assignment one. Okay, na? Lesson 1 assignment. Understood na this one? First question. So this one, this is it by Monday, right? So next class will be on Saturday. You submit by Saturday. Okay, before Saturday. Tomorrow there is a class. I will combine the section A and section B. I will let you know. So section A and section B, I want to combine and take a class. So till today, both the sections are on same track in the in syllabus. Okay. So I want to take combined class. So this is the assignment. You just have a glance. If you anybody is having some doubt, please raise your hand. Okay. So this is an essay you have to write. So what you have learned in lesson 1? Lesson 1 means so what is classical thermodynamics, what is statistical thermodynamics, what is quasi-static process, so and what is intensive property, what is extensive property, all you write in a just 100 words. Okay. In the example you have to write and draw the diagrams also. Okay. Next we'll go lesson 2. So in lesson 2 I will discuss only work transfer today. What is work? So what is work? Can anybody tell me what is work? Not the definition. In a simple words, you just tell me what is work. Work is done to change the okay, to change the position of the system by applying force. We are doing some work. Correct, correct. So you can call the work done by the force only if the system is moving from one place to the another place. Then only you can call that as a work done by that force. Okay. Suppose I have taken one example here. So this is the system. That means this is you. Okay. And the surroundings is your friend. Okay. I'm taking a simple example. This is you. So this is you. System is you and this is your friend. Surroundings is your friend. Okay. And suppose what you did is you punched your friend. That means you just punched your friend. Okay. So what happens to you? You feel happy, right? You feel happy by punching your friend. Punching means here you take as a work. Surroundings means your friend. System means you. So you as a system has done some work on your friend. That means you punched your friend. That means you are feeling happy by punching your friend. So that means you can say as work is positive only if the work is done by the system. Okay. If the work is done by the system on the surroundings, you can call that work is a positive. Okay. Suppose what happened, your friend has punched you. Okay. This one. So this is the surroundings and this is the work. Work means punch. Okay. Surroundings, your friend has punched you. That means you will feel bad. That means work is negative. So in that way you just remember. So whenever you punched your friend, that means work is done by you. That means system has done some work on the surrounding. Then work is positive. If the system, that means if your friend has punched you, that means surroundings has done work on the system. Work is negative. These notations should not confuse you. You have to remember particularly when work is positive, when work is negative. So when work is positive, okay, when the system has done some work, then you can say it as a positive. When the okay, right. So when work is negative, Okay, work done on the system by the surroundings is the work is negative. So this is the so you have taken battery and motor. So what happens to this fan when I switched on this motor? The fan will rotate, right? So you just remove this fan and arrange a weight pulley system. So weight pulley system should be arranged in such a way that by switching on this motor, the weight will be moved up. In that way, you just arrange this pulley weight system. So you can call this work as work done by the system on surroundings. You can simply approximate as the weight raising by the motor motor battery system. Okay. So this is the definition you can see here. Work is said to be done by the system if the sole effect on the things external to the system can be reduced to the raising of a weight. Okay. Yes, this is a definition. Next, free expansion. I have taken some free expansion. Free expansion means Ankit, Ankit Asher. Anybody has a is having some doubt in this? Shiva? Okay, we will continue. Still, anyone is coming? Okay. Am I audible to everyone? Am I audible? Okay, okay. Any doubt in this up to here? Okay. So this one free expansion. Now I want to discuss. This is the last topic in today's class. Visible now? This screen. So free expansion I am talking about. So what is free expansion? So for that, am taking this this enclosure. I have taken this gas mixture, I have taken in a closed envelope. Okay, so suppose what happened here, a partition is there. See, so here I have taken a partition. So after this, here is a vacuum. Vacuum means there is no air. Okay, suddenly this partition has removed. So I have removed this partition. What happens to this gas? This gas has expanded in this entire volume. So that means this gas has occupied this entire volume. Okay, so this is a state 1 and this is a state 2. So this is a state 1 and this is a state 2, and I have joined by a dotted line. So what happened here? So why I have taken a dotted line here to join 1 and 2? So initial state is in equilibrium and the final state is in equilibrium. But in between the process, in between this 1 and 2, the process is taken place in non-equilibrium state. So this entire process between 1 and 2 is in non-equilibrium. So what happened? Next, I have taken n number of partitions. N number of partitions I have taken one by one. I have removed. Okay. So what happens to this gas? It will expand from 1 to 2 in n equilibrium states. So it will expand from 1 to this cross mode after this. So it will expand from one state to another state by equilibrium states. It so each and every state in between 1 and 2 in equilibrium state. Okay. So here what happened to this work? Is the work is positive? Is the work is negative? Or it is zero? What happened to work? Can we say work as zero? Can we say work as positive or negative? Anyone? Let us say this as a system. Gas is the system. So work done by the gas is is it negative? Negative? Is it positive? Is it zero? So why it is zero? Why it is positive? And why it is negative? Can anyone guess? Work done by the gas. Work done by the gas on the vacuum is zero. It is zero. Even the gas is expanding from one state to another state, we are taking work as zero. Why? Because this vacuum is not resisting against the gas. That means the work done by the gas against this vacuum is zero. Vacuum is not opposing any resistance. That's why here work done by the gas is zero. So in free expansion always work is zero. Okay, na? Understood everyone? So this is free expansion process. And participants, okay. 351. Who is 351?